Yo, 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 it's your girl and boy CT. I'm Cindy Barnes.
And I'm Travis Barnes.
And we are the founders of the Overcomers Podcast.
Sponsored by Journey 333. That is a place of mind, body, spirit that helps you with fitness, coaching, and nutrition to look better, live better, and feel better. We produce these episodes every week for your enjoyment to help people to overcome adversity and live their dreams. Today on our show, I couldn't be more excited. Honestly, this is just a true thrill for me. We have had awards in our company named after the book that this author wrote. We have Peter Shankman on here with us today. He's a sought-after speaker. He created HARO, which is Help a Reporter Out. He's just an award-winning author, excellent guy, super excited. He's even an Ironman. He's training for the World Championship Ironman in Hawaii. And in honor of that, he's raising money for leukemia lymphoma. And you can go and help donate. You can help Peter raise money by going to shankman.com/Ironman. So he's trying to raise $120,000 for this leukemia project, and he is better than halfway there. So pitch in and be part of something great. Peter, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Good to be here.
Oh, man, we're just so honored. Yeah, you know, it was, how many years has it been since we first read Zombie Loyalist? Let me hold it up because we will have video clips. This is the book, guys. Zombie Loyalist right here.
So I think it was 2014.
Was it?
15.
Okay. All right. So there it was. We read it as soon as it came out. It was recommended throughout our mastermind. Our mastermind is always sharing great books, and it has changed our business. It has really changed our business. And today we have Peter on the show because we believe that he can help you to change your business with just talking about some of the things that are in there and some of the things that he does today and speaks to people about. The idea behind Zombie Loyalist is to bring random amazement into normal situations, right? Zombies are after the brains, right? And what we should all be after in our business is trying to be different, trying to add something special, trying to create those raving fans, as Ken Blanchard calls them, or as Peter calls them, zombie loyalists. So Peter, if we could, a little bit about the inspiration for what you do and who you are and, what caused you to write such a book and all that kind of thing.
So hat tip to Ken. First of all, thank you for having me on. Second of all, hat tip to Ken Blanchard. My first job out of college was America Online. On the very first day of the sort of intro session to AOL, they handed us raving fans, and it's been in my bookcase ever since. It's a phenomenal book. The concept behind Zombie Loyalists came because I spent, I worked at AOL, and that was the only job I ever had, the only real job I ever had. I had that from 95, 98. Moved back to New York City, and this is back when the internet was, when AOL was the internet, it was just starting out. Moved back to New York after I left AOL, and realized that, we were in this middle of this .com boom, and no one really knew how to do PR and marketing for the .com, faster, quicker, better. And so I started an agency, and I discovered it was incredibly easy to get clients and to do PR if we didn't have to do anything amazing. All we had to do was be slightly better. The bar was so low, was so unbelievably low, that we didn't need to be awesome. We needed to, pardon the expression, suck slightly less than everyone else, right? I've interviewed Tony Robbins. He's been on my podcast, and the walk on fire, that's bullshit. I don't need you to walk on fire, right? I need you to suck slightly less. Walking on fire is hard. I don't need that. I need you to just be slightly better than everyone else. And the premise of that is that the bar is so low, right? And so over the course of 20-something years of running a PR agency and of being an entrepreneur and starting several companies and writing books and going on TV and being a talking head and keynoting around the world, one of the things I've learned more than anything is that the bar is really low. And so Zombie Loyalist is the premise that we expect in any customer interaction or even business-to-business interaction, we expect to be treated pretty poorly, right? Back when we all used to be able to fly all the time, we think back to the days when you could fly. Think back to your last flight, right? And I always ask this to my audience, what made it a good flight? Well, we took off on time, we landed on time, had the seat I wanted. I'm like, okay, so they didn't let you fly the plane. They didn't, there wasn't a date waiting for you in the seat next to you. No, you just had, you signed a contract of carriage that said that you will fly at a certain date and time and have a certain seat, and they'll take you to a certain place and return you. And that's what they did. They didn't do anything special. And, but because they didn't crash into a mountain or pull you off the plane by your nose, you know, and you were on time, you're sitting there going, that's the greatest flight I ever had. Well, no, actually, that's just a flight. It's nothing out of the ordinary, but the bar is so low, you know, we expect to go to the airport, we get to the TSA, we get pulled for the random anal probe, it's an hour later, you know, now we have to run to our gate. It was gate 4, but they moved it to gate 237 without telling us. That's 6 airports in 7 states that way. You know, this whole premise that if the plane was on time and we took off and landed and didn't crash in a mountain, we're over the moon. So if that's where the bar is, I don't need companies to be amazing. I need companies to suck slightly less. And that's why it's not so hard to do. It's the premise of creating zombie loyalists starts off with understanding where the bar is. My favorite joke in the whole world has always been, you got 2 guys out in the woods on a trail run, and they're about 7 miles in the middle of nowhere, and they see a bear, and they freak out because the bear sees them, and he stands up, and he's like, oh my God. The guy's like, oh my God, we're gonna die. And the first guy leans down, he tightens up his running shoes, and the second guy says, what the hell's wrong with you? You can't outrun a bear. And the first guy says, no, I just need to outrun you. And that's exactly where we are, right? If your company wants to succeed, I just need you to do things slightly better. Focus on the fact that it is about the customer. Focus on the fact that you know, there's a great line that says, be kind, everyone is facing problems you know nothing about, which is very true, but I'll take it a step further. Everyone has a problem. You know, anyone who comes into your store, right, or anyone who goes into if you go to an airport or you go online to an airline website, what's your problem? You need to get somewhere. If you go to a McDonald's, what's your problem? You want food. If you go to, you know, so if you look at the customer coming in as that customer has a problem, how can I solve it? As opposed to how can I take their money? It becomes a much easier situation and a lot easier to take their money. Right. So at the end of the day, the key is to focusing on what you can do for the customer, just slightly better than everyone else.
Yeah. You know, in your book, you talk about, well, you use several different examples. I think there's a bank that's giving out milk bones. There's, you know, your experience with Morton's Steakhouse. I really, you know, one of the ones that stands out to me was the bad day discount, you know, where the couple was having a bad day at the table. And so I love basically what you're saying. It's like, what are you providing? What are you providing? For us, we recognize that everybody has kettlebells, everybody has ropes, everybody, you know, has a TRX nowadays. So we're providing a fitness solution.
I will say though, a year ago, getting kettlebells was up there with getting toilet paper.
Yes, it was.
And the one company, was the company that was able to get me kettlebells, and I fell in love with them. Right? Because they understood. They're like, you know what? We get it. You're in an apartment. You can't go to your gym. It's not like you can go outside and go to the park. You're in the middle of New York. You're totally locked down. We'll hook you up. Right? And they were able to find me kettlebells. And so those kettlebells, what's the thing? When all you have is a hammer, everything begins to look like a nail. Right? I put on more muscle in the past year than I have ever had in my life, because all I had were literally 2 pairs of kettlebells right over there. Right? I couldn't go to the gym. I had 2 pairs of kettlebells and my annoying trainer on FaceTime, because he the second this hit, he hauled ass to Florida or some shit. I'm like, dude, really? In bail on me? Well, you can't go to the gym anyway. We'll work out remotely. I'm like, what a dick. So all I had was him on FaceTime and these 2 pairs of kettlebells, and I gained 16 pounds of muscle.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's fantastic.
But that's what it comes down to. You know, they were able to see my need, see my problem, and get me what I needed. How can you make the customer's life easier, right? Is always the answer. And you know, yes, a lot of people do have kettlebells now. A lot of people do have ropes. A lot of people do have TRX. I have all of those things. But your job isn't necessarily to go get your customers to buy more of them. I would suggest your job is to, at this point, at this moment in time, is to make sure your customers are using them to the best beneficial way for them that is possible, by creating content that shows them better ways to use that. And the reason I bring that up is because you can't make anything viral. Stop trying to make things viral, but you can make things good. And if I know that you guys are creating content that's going to help me get more out of those kettlebells or more out of those TRX ropes or more out of whatever, I'm going to come to you for that. And then when I do want to upgrade, I'm going to stick with you.
You know, you mentioned content, and maybe there are some standard examples or maybe even mediums that people could use in their business to bring random amazement into normal situations. Clearly, content is one of them. Is there a way that you can solve a problem by providing content? What are some of the standard ways that you encourage people, hey, look at these categories Look at these things and say, how can I bring random amazement into normal situations in my business?
One of the first questions I'd ask is, where is your audience? Where are they hanging out? I can't tell you where they're hanging out online. Only you know that. It's the equivalent of, my daughter came to me once, she goes, "Daddy, do I like oranges?" What do I know if you like orange? What? Try the damn orange. If you like it, you like, like, she's 8 years old now, and she's much more intelligent. But yeah, she came to me at 3 years old. Do I like oranges? Yeah, you do. So I can't tell you what your audience likes or where they hang out. You have to know that by asking them, by figuring out what they're into, what they want to get, where they want to get it, and then delivering them that content there. What did Casey Stengel say about winning baseball games? He said, the goal is to hit them where they ain't, right? Well, the opposite's true in content and social. You want to hit them where they are. And the best way to hit them where they are is to find out where they are. And so ask them, literally ask your audience, make sure that you're talking to them, make sure that you're listening to what they say. They'll tell you, my God, they'll tell you exactly where, they are and where they're hanging out and what they're using. And, you might, if you're spending all your time on Twitter and you don't have any clients on, any clients on Twitter, you're wasting your time. Right? So find out where they are, go after them for that, and then understand that their tastes change, right? So make sure you're keeping up with them. The goal isn't really about trying to sell them stuff. Your goal is to talk to them and to figure out what they want, what they need, how you can better service them and deliver that stuff to them. By default, that is going to generate revenue and generate sales because they will come to you. 99.9% of the content I make, I give away for free. And I do that because the content I make, I like to think is beneficial and useful. And I know that the 0.001% of the content that I do sell, it's going to be bought by people who trust me and who trust the content that they're seeing. They say, okay, that's interesting. I would buy that. So, it's not about selling. I rarely sell. For me, it's about educating and helping. And it's interesting because it all comes down to having an audience. Anyone who buys your products, anyone who you sell to is an audience. And having an audience, and this is really important. I don't think enough people understand this. Having an audience is a privilege. It's not a right.
Right.
I say it in a way that you guys will understand. Having an audience is exactly like wearing spandex. As I train for this Ironman, I do not have the right to wear spandex. I wear bulky tank tops and t-shirts as I run and shorts. And on the day of the Ironman, I have earned the privilege of wearing spandex for that day. I do the race. Hopefully I finish, I get my medal. And then someone comes over to me and says, "Sir, congratulations. Good job. Please put on this bulky t-shirt." I get it, right? There are very few people who have the right to wear spandex, but it is exactly the same way in having an audience. No one's born with the right to have an audience, right? You have the privilege of creating great content every single day that will drive an audience to you. But on the flip side, because you don't have the right to one, they can go away. So you constantly have to keep giving them the content they want. It's a very fine line. It's a very fine line to walk. It is, you want to create content that helps people, that gives people information, gives them what they need. And then with luck, they're going to stick around and they're going to want more of it. And you become a trusted source. Once you're a trusted source, not only are they going to buy from you, but they're going to send their friends to you. And that's pretty key because, let's face it, no one believes how great you are if you're the one who has to tell them, right? If I'm in a bar and, I see you over there, you don't know me, but I'm awesome, right? You should pretty much finish your drink right now, come home with me, I'm that good. She's going to throw a drink in my face. I've done a lot of homework. That's exactly what she's going to do. But on the flip side, if I'm sitting there just, playing Pokemon on my phone or whatever, and she's with her friend says, "Oh my God, that's Peter Shankman. He's a dog. You have a dog. You're both single parents. You guys should totally meet. You'd love each other." At the very least, I'm getting an introduction. That's a trusted source, right? That's what you want. You want to create content that helps someone to the point where they say to their friends, "Hey, check this out."
Yeah. So the purpose of this content is to get people to know, like, and trust you, solve problems for them. I like to refer to the idea of Toma, continue to give you top of mind awareness in the mind of the people that are following you so that when they do want to buy that 1% that you put out there for sale, because it's of use to them, they know that this is the person they want to buy it from. Really good. Really good. To me, some of the things that you actually talk about in your book are kind of similar to Seth Godin purple cow stuff, right? Like it's like, it's like, you have to just stand out, right? Like you're riding, like Seth Godin's analogy is you're riding along, you're looking at all these cows, but then you stop because you're like, "Oh my God, that's a purple cow," right? There's purple cow right there. And what you're encouraging people to do is don't suck as bad as everyone else, you know? And so when you encourage them to do that, do you also get them to analyze points of their business? Like, for instance, the way that a guest is welcomed to the business, you know, or the operations, or even the back end, or, you know, sales, marketing, whatever. What are some of the key points?
It takes every single employee to keep your clients. It takes only one to lose them. You know, I tell the story of I used to rent with Hertz, and my cars with Hertz, and I flew into Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport once, and I have a, you know, I'm a gold member with Hertz, which doesn't mean anything. It's like having a Discover card. Anyone get it. But I'm renting from Hertz, and I go to the gold desk, and my name isn't on the board. I'm like, all right. So I go to the gold line. There's like 40 people in front of me. And there's one guy working. Like 30 minutes later, he's like, hey, there's a really long, guys, why don't you go upstairs? You might have better luck at the main counter. I go up to the main counter. It's like a 2.5 hour wait for cars, right? And you know, I'm waiting. I'm tweeting to Hertz. I'm asking for help. Nothing's going on. Finally, I get to the counter, and the guy looks at my reservation. He's like, oh, you're a gold member. Like, yeah, it didn't really help me. He's like, great, you have to just go downstairs. I'm like, no, they sent me up here 2.5 hours ago. Yeah, well, they have to do it. It's policy. I'm like, it's not a they. I see my reservation. It's on the screen. You can give me this car. He's like, no, sir, sorry, next. And he nexted me. Now, I'm not anyone special, but don't next your customers, right? And so instead of waiting and dealing with that, you know, Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport, the interesting thing about Phoenix is that all the car rental places are located in one giant building. So I walked literally 75 feet from the cesspool of filth and depravity that was Hertz to the Zen garden of peace and tranquility that was Avis. And I got to Avis and I said, hey, any chance I could get it? Oh, sure. Within 5 minutes, I was in a nicer car for a cheaper price with a smiling woman named Phyllis. I will never forget Phyllis behind the counter, who not only smiled and told me how great it was to have me and directions and whatever I needed, but she brought over Ramon, who's the general manager of Avis Sky Harbor Airport. Ramon, meet Mr. Shankman. He's another Hertz refugee. Now, I'm not an MBA, but if you have if your biggest competitor has a pet name for the people that you've screwed over, you're going to want to get on that, right? So here's the thing, you know, I wrote a blog post called Peter and Hertz and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Really Bad Day. And I post it the next morning at like 7 a.m. Phoenix time. I get a phone call from like the global general manager of customer experience for Hertz worldwide. Hi, saw your blog post. How can we make this right? I'm like, well, you had 8 hours to make this right yesterday while I was waiting on that damn line. You didn't do anything. So I'm going to stick with Avis. Thanks. And, you know, they wouldn't have called me had I not written a blog post and didn't have a huge audience, because they didn't do anything when I was tweeting them and yelling at them online. So, you know, now I'm sticking. I have never left Avis. I've been with Avis for 7 years now, and I'll never use anyone else. And it comes down to the simple question. Sure, that was probably a one-time bad experience at Hertz, but it was enough to make me think, well, I rent cars overseas a lot. What happens if I have a breakdown in a country where I don't speak the language? Do I want that same experience with Hertz, or do I want to know that Phyllis, a Phyllis type person, is there waiting to help me? All she did was smile. She didn't do anything special. She smiled, right? And after getting jabbed in the eye with a spork for 2 hours by Hertz, a smile was really all I needed to convert. So understand what works, right? It's not rocket science.
I love your humor. I love it. So let me ask you this. What if you are a Hertz company? What if you're listening right now and you feel like, you know what? I've already identified that there's some areas in our business where we're failing. It could be the way that we greet the customer, could be the way that we serve the customer. Maybe you're a restaurant with lousy service, or who knows, and you need to almost create a campaign where you're going to turn it around. Maybe you've dealt with a certain situation like that, either in your book or, you know, in some of the consulting that you do with all the different Fortune 500 companies. What do you recommend as far as, you know, steps for a company that feels like they haven't been getting it right and now they want to turn it around and create some zombie loyalists?
Well, obviously hire me. No, I'm kidding. Look, this is what I speak at, right? This is the keynotes I give all over the world for this. But, you know, short of hiring me, the first thing I would suggest is take a look at your people. Right? If you're not hiring for the right reasons, then that's one of your biggest problems. Are you hiring? You have to hire people who care about people, right? If you're putting people into forward-facing roles, if you're putting people into back-end roles, you have to hire people who care about people who have empathy. If you're hiring people because they're cheapest or because they can get the job done the fastest, that's not necessarily what you need. You need to hire people who care about people, who want to make things better for people. I've seen countless companies who are doing it right because they hire people who care about people, and they hire people who understand that having empathy and treating your customers, again, one level better, is all you need to do most of the time. I remember being I think it was Ritz-Carlton in Dubai back in like 2013. And I come home after a day of meeting, come back to the hotel after a day of meetings, and there's a note on my bathroom counter along with a new tube of toothpaste. Dear Mr. Shankman, as we were cleaning, we noticed that you were running low on your toothpaste. So we went to the drugstore and got you the same brand. Hope that's okay. Right?
Where was this? Where was the bottom? Wow.
Like, you've got to be kidding me. That was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. Right. And so, what did it cost them? Right? Like $2. How many times have I told that story? Right. It was just one of those little things. And it's done because the people they hire understand how to take care of people. So that's really a key point. Customer service, customer experience, building zombie loyalists, that all has to come from top down. You can't implement that if it's not believed by the top, by the brass, by the CEOs. It has to come from top down first and foremost, always.
That was actually going to be my next question, because of course, it's how we hire, and we know that in our business because it's all coaching, right? So we got to hire people that care about people and care about getting them to their goals and are willing to go the extra mile and track them down when they don't show up and all that kind of stuff. So let me ask you this. It's a smaller business where the leader is not too far removed from the hiring process. And, there seems to be a problem with the way that the people care. How often do you find that maybe the deeper issue is that the leader needs to look at how they care for their people, or, maybe even their own attitude themselves,
No question about it. You're never going to create an incredible company if the culture in that company is toxic, right? You can't create amazing random amazement in normal situations if the employees have no desire to do that because they're all miserable. I've been in countless situations where I've asked an employee for help, and not my department. I don't know, man, but you should go over there. I don't know, talk to help it. That tells me all I need to know about the company, right? I want companies whose employees are happy to be there. Not because obviously because they're getting a fair wage, but because they enjoy where they work, because they have pride in where they work, because they believe in where they work, right? It's really interesting. Everyone wants to buy a cell phone that runs on the T-Mobile network, the AT&T network, whatever, but they want to know that when they have a problem with their phone, they can go to Joe at the local T-Mobile store because Joe cares, right? That's what you want to work on.
Yeah, really good, really good. We have a lot of fitnesspreneurs that listen to this, and you've already given us one tip about creating good content to help people solve their issues. Being somebody that's engaged in fitness yourself, probably a lot of training on the road, not necessarily so much in the gym, but from your past fitness experience, have you identified any problems in the fitness industry that you think fitnesspreneurs should be trying to solve?
It's a really good question. I think there are several. I've been very fortunate. The majority of trainers I've had are excellent. My trainer, Mitch, at Equinox, he is just phenomenal. I love this guy. I think he truly cares. And that is more important than anything. It's not about, okay, we're going to drop you to 200 pounds or 190 or whatever, we're going to get you ripped. It's about how are you feeling about yourself, right? And he understands I'm not perfect. He guilts me when necessary. He's a total dick when necessary, but that's required. And as such, I almost have a friendship with him. I'd say I have a friendship with him, not just, a business relationship. I think that the trainers need to understand that people are human, first and foremost. And yeah, they all want to look great, but they also have that thing they're trying to deal with called life. And, if I were a trainer, yeah, I'd be incredibly ripped and have abs because that'd be my fucking job, 16 hours a day. That's all I do, right? I don't have that luxury. I'm a single dad. I have an 8-year-old daughter. I'm running 2 companies. I'm a corporate keynote speaker. I spend way too much time on planes. I have a 9-month-old dog I swore I was never going to get sitting below my desk. So all these things that, also impact my life. And the trainers who are smart, the coaches who are smart, people like that understand that, yeah, we are all different and when they need to adjust accordingly. And the trainers I've had do that, the ones I don't, oh yeah, you don't, I had someone tell me, well, it's not a priority for you. But, well, it's a priority for me in the extent that I want to do it, but not at the expense of not seeing my daughter or something like that, right? So they have to understand that everyone is different and everyone works in different ways. Right now, my priority is completing this Ironman. So that means I'm doing a lot more swimming, biking, and running than I am lifting, and Mitch understands that. Right? Flexibility. is key. Adaptability is key. I remember I had a trainer, God, probably 10, 12 years ago, named Ken, who grew up as a fat kid like I did, and then discovered exercise and became like this super ripped trainer. And, you know, like most fat kids like myself, we once we get into a place where women actually notice us, that's all all that matters. He was younger than me. He was like in his mid-20s at the time. So his whole thing every night, every weekend, he'd be going out and just getting laid and just having this, all the stuff that he never got to do in high school, right? And I remember on Monday mornings, he'd come in and he'd be like, yeah, man, it was incredible. I wound up in this, it was like an orgy. There were like 7 people. Dude, it's 6 in the fucking morning and I haven't had coffee. Know your audience.
That's great.
Yeah, screaming that to him. It's like I'm trying to do my first set of bench press. Like, dude, I don't need to hear about that.
Right. Know your audience. So good.
But again, it's that level of camaraderie where they understand sort of. I mean, the guy was at my wedding, right? They understand what you're going through. They understand what what is important to you, and that becomes their goal as well. It's not just to pump you up or whatever. It's about what do you want to do? Why are you doing this? And so I think that empathy, again, it comes back to empathy, and it comes back to just being a little bit better.
Yeah. In our internship at Journey, we encourage people to learn different personality styles and adapt to that. We also talk a lot about psychology, helping people to know their why for their goal and make sure that they feel worthy and deserving of the goal and are having a healthy relationship with themselves. And it seems like you're encouraging not only knowing your audience, but understanding the psychology of the person that you're really trying to motivate and keep accountable. So yeah, very good. Very good. Peter, I got to tell you, this has been just amazing. I want to show your book one more time to the camera here. Check it out, guys. It's Zombie Loyalist, using great service to create rabid fans, right? The
Tell you a secret about it. So the book went through 4 printings, and in my contract, after 4 printings, I got the rights reverted back to me. So I own the rights again. And so at some point, when I can get back on a couple of flights to Asia and have 14 hours each way uninterrupted, I'm going to update it. And I'm going to republish it as a self-publish. And so when that happens, I will let you guys know. But yeah, it's going to be updated for a post-COVID world. And the book's about 6 years old now, so we're gonna update it. I'm looking forward to doing that. So it'll be like right next 6 months.
Oh yeah, please let us know so we can share it with our audience, our listeners. We are doing our very best at Journey. Whether it's somebody loses the greatest percentage of weight each week and they're got their foot on a rock as a boulder mover, or hanging a medal around their neck because they lost 20 pounds. We hand out a frozen cold towel at the end of each workout. And some of these things that we do, Peter, are inspired by you. So we thank you. We thank you for creating this kind of content, this book that can teach us these kind of things, and even create an award in our company. Are you creating Zombie Loyalists?
For our company as well, as people come aboard and they want to kind of grow up through the ranks, that is a book that they have to read if they ever want to grow the ladder, if they want to go up the ladder.
There's 5,
there's 5 books, and I got to tell you, not a reader personally. I always say the first book I read as an adult was Zombie Loyalist. I loved it. So Travis had there was several of us, and he was putting us all in like this little book club, part of the company. And so I took Zombie Loyalist, and we all had to do a report on it and then do questions with answers. And so anyone that comes up through the chain, just starting out as, trainer and stuff, they have to read the book. Then they have to answer my questions that I wrote back when the book first came out, obviously 2015, but I love that book. Yeah. I as soon as I read it, I had never eaten at Morton's before. I was like, that steakhouse. I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to go to the steakhouse, right? And so then when we did, I was like, oh, we're finally here. So it's a fantastic book. It has so many gems in it. And even when we go and we speak, around, different states and stuff like that. We've shown your book.
Yeah, for sure.
It is always on our slides. Yeah. And we talk about it. If you've not read this book, you have to read it. You are in customer service. This is a necessity. So thanks for being here. It is an honor. I really, yes, my first book as an adult.
So if you ever want any help with quizzes for your book, you know who to talk to. And if our listeners want to find you and get more of your content and just everything, what's the best way to, well, one, of course, you guys can go and pick this up at any bookstore,
Yeah,
Amazon.com.
it's worth it.
However, you're putting out regular content on a regular basis. So where can they go?
So my entire life is at shankman.com.
Okay.
My website's there. I am at Peter Shankman on all of the socials. You can find me anywhere at Peter Shankman on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I do a lot on Instagram, do a lot on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, Snapchat, whatever. I am, if you find yourself in New York, I am running and biking pretty much every morning, usually around 4 a.m. Usually I'm on my Peloton, so I'm at Peter Shankman on Peloton as well. And like I said, on October 9th is the Ironman. So until October 9th, I will be training for the Ironman Kona, and you can help support Leukemia and Lymphoma Society at shankman.com/Ironman. And I'll make you a deal. Anyone who donates $25 or more, send me an email with proof that you donated at shankman.com/Ironman. And when I redo Zombie Loyalists, I'll send you a free copy.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Where do they email? When they go do that?
Shankman.com.
Okay, that is so
Wow.
awesome. Wow, thank you for
That's
that.
exciting.
Yeah, thank you for that offer. I can't wait to read the sequel. I
I
know
know.
that,
Yeah.
So thank you. Well, by the way, if you're up at 4 a.m, our gym's open at 4, and we are upstate New Yorkers. So if you ever want to talk more, there is another couple of people that are up at that crazy
Yes.
time.
Where upstate are you guys?
So we're near the Finger Lakes.
All the way up. I know the area.
Yeah, we have locations near like Cornell University in Ithaca and Corning and Elmira, New York. So in the New York area. But we do love New York City. Can't wait to get back there. It's been a tough year to visit, this past year or so. But, Peter, again, thank you so much for your time. We know how busy you are. Thank you for being on this show.
My pleasure, guys. You keep in touch.
Thanks.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Overcomers Podcast, sponsored by Journey 333. When I am not hosting the Overcomers Podcast, I am working at one of our fitness franchises so that I can continue to help people overcome adversity on a daily basis. That's right, people come to the Journey 333 fitness franchises because they want a coach in their life. They want somebody to help them overcome the adversities of life, motivate them to higher levels of greatness, bring out their potential, help them lose weight, get off medications, fight depression, fight anxiety. That's what we do on a regular basis. If you feel like you want your life to be about helping more people to overcome their adversities, if you feel like you're an overcomer and you want to create more overcomers, then maybe owning a Journey 333 franchise would be for you. To find out more, go to www.journeyfitness333.com.